This is commentary on Lesson 69 in the Workbook for A Course in Miracles. My grievances hide the light of the world in me. One of the ideas in this lesson is if you understand the importance of how valuable this exercise is in this lesson and how valuable the experience is that we're trying to attain. We're literally trying to get to that light of the world that we are, that self of love. Um, and it's saying if you know how important this is, that'll help motivate you. And so um, the, the Course's idea is that this experience of salvation or forgiveness or miracles or experience of light of that self is a solution to every problem that ourselves and the world has ever had, has right now, or is ever going to have. So that's really huge. What I want to do is bring up a couple of examples of this kind of experience in contexts that are not of the Course. One of them is Eckhart Tolle, who's a famous author these days, wrote The Power of Now in a New Earth. And it says in here, Tolle says he was depressed for much of his life until he underwent at age 29 an inner transformation that brought him a deep state of bliss and became a spiritual teacher. The other one is Bill Wilson from AA. Talked about his spiritual experience is that when he was really at the bottom, and he reached out with, if there is a God, will show myself. And he described it as the result was this instant, electric, beyond description, a blinding white light, that he knew in ecstasy, that he was free. All right, so these kinds of experiences are like the ones that the Course is trying to have us accomplish in these lessons. And my belief is they are exactly the same, that this is a universal experience. So holding in your mind how important this is will be part of what will make this lesson successful. And so yesterday we were looking at our grievances, where we've projected the guilt for this imagined lacking fearful self. We've projected that guilt onto the world, and we hold resentments towards it. We grieve. That's a grievance. They're responsible for our loss. But in today's lesson, we're not going to go through those grievances. We want to just go through what it's calling the clouds and into that light. If you've ever had the experience of taking off in an airplane when it's been cloudy or stormy, and as you rise up, you get beyond the clouds and there's the sun. That's the kind of experience we're looking for. Okay, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. No one can look upon what your grievances conceal. Because your grievances are hiding the light of the world in you, everyone stands in darkness and you beside him. But as the veil of your grievances is lifted, you are released with him. Share your salvation now with him who stood behind you when you were in hell. Here is your brother in the light of the world that saves you both. Today, let us make another real attempt to reach the light in you. Before we undertake this in our more extended practice period, let us devote several minutes to thinking about what we're trying to do. We are literally attempting to get in touch with the salvation of the world. We're trying to see past the veil of darkness that keeps it concealed. We're trying to let the veil be lifted and to see the tears of God's Son disappear in the sunlight. That means our sadness. Let us begin our longer practice period today with the full realization this is so, and with real determination to reach what is dearer to us than all else. Salvation is our only need. There is no other purpose here and no other function to fulfill. Learning salvation is our only goal. Let us end the ancient search today by finding the light in us and holding it up for everyone who searches with us to look upon and rejoice. Very quiet. So here's the practice. Very quietly now, with your eyes closed, try to let go of all the content that generally occupies your consciousness. Think of your mind as a vast circle surrounded by a layer of heavy, dark clouds. You can see only the clouds because you seem to be standing outside the circle and quite apart from it. From where you stand, you can see no reason to believe there's a brilliant light hidden by the clouds. The clouds seem to be the only reality. They seem to be all there is. Therefore, you do not attempt to go through them and pass them, which is the only way in which you would be really convinced of their lack of substance. We will make this attempt today. After you've thought about the importance of what you're trying to do for yourself and the world, try to settle down in perfect stillness, remembering only how much you want to reach the light in you today, now. Determined to go past the clouds, reach out and touch them in your mind, brush them aside with your hand, feel them resting on your cheeks and forehead and eyelids as you go through them. Go on, clouds cannot stop you. If you're doing the exercises properly, you will begin to feel a sense of being lifted up and carried ahead. Your little effort and small determination call on the power of the universe to help you, and God Himself will raise you from darkness to light. You are in accord with His will. You cannot fail because your will is His. So here's an attitude to have as we're doing this practice. Have confidence in your Father today, and be certain that He has heard you and answered you. You may not recognize His answer yet, but you can indeed be sure that it is given you and you will receive it. Try as you attempt to go through the clouds to the light to hold this confidence in your mind. Try to remember that you're at last joining your will to God's. Try to keep the thought clearly in mind that what you undertake with God must succeed. Then let the power of God work in you and through you, that His will and yours be done. So that's the longer practice period. And then now we have shorter practice periods during the day, which we'll want to do as often as possible in view of the importance of today's idea to you and your happiness. Remind yourself that your grievances are hiding the light of the world from your awareness. Remind yourself also that you are not searching for it alone, and you do know where to look for it. Say then, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. I cannot see what I have hidden, yet I want to let it be revealed to me for my salvation and the salvation of the world. Also be sure to tell yourself, if I hold this grievance, the light of the world will be hidden from me if you're tempted to hold anything against anyone today. So we want to practice as often as we can to keep in mind what's preventing this light, our grievances, that we want to let go of those, that we do want to go into that light. And so we want to say that as often as we can. And then if we're tempted by some situation with someone else to hold a grievances, we say to ourselves, if I hold this grievance, the light of the world will be hidden from me. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you.